Hello, this is Sibyl Harmony, and this is we're going to answer political questions here. We're going to look at will the families sue from the flood because there wasn't proper notification. I mean, we're going to look at the Mystic flooding in Texas and the area around there. We're going to look at Jasmine Crockett sues J.D. Vance for $1 million. Elon starting a party, how that will affect the midterms and the general election. Protests on July 17th. I haven't really looked at this yet. And priming and stealing money, the tariff, and how to beat the heat. So we have all these questions. We're going to look at, let's go in. So I am a clairvoyant. I get messages and downloads. I also use the cards to confirm my readings. I'm going to switch up my readings a little bit. So I do healing, and I'm an energy healer, and so I do these meditations at the end of these readings. But what I'm going to switch this up and do, I'm going to do the readings with the spiritual video. I mean the healing meditation with the spiritual videos that I do, and I'm going to keep the political just political and kind of stay on track, because it's important that we address 3D reality because we live in a physical world. Okay, so I'm going to bring a little bit of spirituality into this, but they're going to kind of be separate. And I also want to say I had an amazing group. I did a free group, which I've not done before, but every once in a while, I know it's part of my spiritual agreement to give back. And I see other people on other channels donating to worthy causes and such. And so I wanted to do something. And so what better way than to give back to people? So I did that. And I also have some classes coming up, and they're on my website, Sibyl Harmony. It's the old English spelling of Sibyl, Sibyl. You don't usually spell my name like that, but I think there's a link on my post page. So check out my classes. We're going to be healing. We're going to be teaching people how to do this work for yourself or for others, how to receive. We're going to be connecting with angels and ascended masters in August, and improving our clairs, how we receive information. So that's going to be for the price of, it's going to be a whole day class, plus I send you 4 videos of homework. So it's not an inexpensive class, because you get a lot of, you get value with my work. You get, it's not just some little 2-hour thing that, well, that was fun, whatever. So it's only $111, the price of a dinner out somewhere. But I know that's a lot for some people. So you can also join my members, which is only $15 a month, where I answer questions and we do guided healing. So check me out there. Okay, so let's answer the questions. Will the Trump administration be sued for the death with the floods in Texas? Because I mean, you doesn't take a genius to know that in extreme weather, which we're seeing everywhere, when you cut back on weather reporting and FEMA and even the Weather Channel, I've saw people coming out on different what do you call them, forecasters, weather forecasters, coming out and saying we can no longer accurately predict the weather or give proper warning for hurricanes and such. I mean, when you cut back on those funds, you make cuts, there's going to be consequences. Clearly, this was not a genius to figure out that's not really a good idea, because how can you pay for the damage that's done now? So now, if you're a person that thinks in terms of dollars, is profit and money is more important than people, which I am not a person like that, but I understand there are people who think that way. This is actually going to cost you more money in the long run if they do actually sue the government, like Sandy Hook sued. So, and then I think it was what's her name? MTG, saying that this was caused by space lasers that started fires and that this is somehow some uh, Democrats or something that caused the flooding. Really? Then why don't we flood the White House? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Then why do Democrat areas suffer from fires? And I mean, you have to not have a brain that's working to believe this type of stuff. Is there some weather manipulation? There is seeding of clouds for rain. They can't really control it that well, but there is, and some people think it's safe. I don't think it's a good idea to mess around with the weather, even a little bit. Oh, sorry, my dog just went out. Hey, close the door. Sorry. Um, so can we do that a little bit? Yes, but if we could do, then why aren't we just send a big earthquake storm over to countries starting with R, these other places, and just get rid of them? Why don't we do that? Why is Europe, NATO allies they're having huge floods and heat waves there? So we're going to talk about a little bit about how to beat the heat. Yeah, so this is absolutely ridiculous. And so let's ask, might Marjorie Taylor Green get sued for making up this? Because I mentioned Jasmine Crockett just sued JD and got $100 million for defamation of character because he attacked her in some meeting and called her all kind of, tried to degrade her. And this is a white man in power talking to a black woman, and she handled it so well, and then she won the lawsuit. So this is setting a precedent. So that wasn't really a read on that. I was going to look at, was she going to win, but I just found out she already won. So it was in the news. So I'm like, okay. Or on somebody's YouTube channel. I'm really more and more supporting people's YouTube channels and subscribing, because when you do that, you're taking viewers away from mainstream media, which really kind of doesn't really tell you what's going on. They try to like slowly and try to plant seeds of what they want people to think or believe in. Okay. So will Marjorie Taylor Green get sued for saying that there's space lasers or weather control by Democrats? I mean, who does she think is doing this? Who would sue her? Democrats? I don't know if this can happen. It's just like disinformation. Let's pull some cards. Let's see. Yeah, she could get sued. No, it's not really going to work though. I mean, there is, people want to return to a time when people didn't make up all this crazy stuff and that's propaganda. And there is a desire. I feel like there might be some people looking into this, but I don't feel like it's going to work because she hasn't really named anybody. So that'll be a no. I mean, it's a possibility. We could look at that. It could change if she starts naming people. Then that person could say, "Oh, I'll see you in court." Yeah, so and I see these souls of these children and a lot of people who were killed in the flooding in Texas, and obviously they were just startled. So a lot of times when people die unexpectedly and quickly, they don't really know what's happened. they're just kind of in shock and they're just kind of wandering around trying to figure out what's going on. So what's really helpful for them is to send them prayers and light that, and I'll do that now, that I think they're Christians, so let's call in Jesus. If you're not Christian, you call in whoever, whatever religion. If you're spiritual, you call in, guides or whatever you believe, whatever that person or family members could be there for them. Well, let's just call in Jesus and ask them to shine the light and show them the way, because so the souls are ascending into the light where they can find peace. And I also want to say prayers for the parents and the family members and the community. This is devastating. And I think this whole idea of like, oh, you shouldn't politicize it. You need to talk about it when it happens, when it's in the news, and stop these things from happening to other people. And that whole thing, oh, we're mourning and we can't talk about it, is just a bunch of BS to me. So, all right, I have opinions. Okay, so let's look at, will these families sue the felon administration? Will there be lawsuits because of improper notice? Apparently they got some notice, some people, that there might be, but they always get those notices. They didn't get imminent flooding evacuate notices. Well, okay, let's back up. Let's ask, were the deaths caused, not just because I want to be what I think it is, but let's ask the guides, were the death caused, would people have been saved if FEMA and NOAA had been fully staffed and on the job? Yes. People would have gotten away. No. Wow. Okay. We want that to be it. I mean, that should be the case. People are looking into this. Like, was this properly? I'm going to say it's a yes. Okay, I'm going to say it's a yes. It would have saved lives. Of course. I mean, you don't even need a psychic to know that. It would have. Okay, but so they would have been able to leave and they would have gotten the message. But if NOAA and FEMA hadn't already had cuts to them, would more people be alive today? That's the question. Yes, it is directly because of what the White House did. Oh my God. Okay. Because I don't want it to be, I have opinions on things. I don't want this to be my opinion on this. I know I had opinion on fireworks. More dogs go missing or end up in the pound from that holiday because of fireworks. So I don't like the fireworks. I know. Okay, I mean, if you want to look at pretty lights, we could do it with drones. They do that in Europe with sparklies or something. You need to have all that noise and smoke pollution and fire danger, people getting injured. I mean, it's this old paradigm. I don't like it. I understand people want to have fun and go somewhere and look at something pretty. That's fine. But how is it pretty when it's causing, so much damage? So, I mean, we really need to get with the times here. I'd rather go to like a barbecue or something. Okay. Um, so what was I looking at? Oh, yeah. Will they sue? Because it was caused yeah. Oh, cards are jumping out. Oh, there's going to be the messaging, lawsuits, secrets coming out. Can they? Oh, because of the water. Yeah. Wow. So let's look at it psychically. Yeah, there's so many lawsuits. He gets the lawsuit and he just like pass it on to next. How many lawsuits this felon has going against him? There could also be, if some right winger takes up like with Sandy Hook, if some right winger takes up a, you know, a purpose or starts, going on, blasting that all of this was made up, or that it didn't really happen, or that the space lasers caused it, or something, to try to distract from really, they cut our safety net programs and a lot more people died. I mean, so there was a warning that came out, but they always get those warnings. There wasn't evacuate now, because it wasn't being checked and taken care of. Wow. Okay. So let's look at the July 17th protest. Well, let's go in order here. Okay, let's go backwards. Sorry, I'm looking at my list. Beat the heat. Oh, did I say I'm going to be on live Saturday at 10 o'clock for politics? Saturday, I believe the 12th this week. So 10 o'clock Pacific time. So be there. It'll be fun. Okay. And informative. Okay. So let's look at beat the heat. So if people can tolerate, wait, let me back up. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. You need to check with your healthcare provider when you're changing diets. So I'm not suggesting that people do certain diets, but I know a lot of people who have done raw food diets that lowers the body temperature. So if you can tolerate raw foods, there's a lot of raw food recipes that people use. What happens is it lowers the body temperature. So it's only really good for people who live in hot climates. And also then you're not cooking in the kitchen. So things like salad or melon is cooling and cucumbers are cooling. Peppermint tea, a peppermint oil on your feet if you can get a good clean oil that's not, sometimes they, uh, unethical companies can cut the oils with something toxic, so you don't want that. So good peppermint oil. So you wouldn't want to do things like spicy food, ginger, hot peppers. Those things are going to be heating. Cooked food is going to warm your body up. And also when people do intermittent fasting, like I usually eat a snack in the morning, and then I don't have anything all day until I have an early dinner. So I do kind of an intermittent fasting during the day. So when you do that, when you stop eating and you do a type of fasting, your body temperature will drop. So not a good thing to do necessarily in the winter unless you're doing a lot of hot teas and soups. So yeah, so there are ways to beat the heat. Put your feet in cold water. Look at what you're eating and drinking. Okay. So I wanted to look at the tariffs. The tariffs are supposed to kick in. It's hard to read this energy because it's so erratic. The energy is erratic, and the felon in the White House is erratic. So it's hard to really know what is going to happen. Like this bill that was just passed. So if you make more money, or you're in the stock market, or you have property, it wasn't really that bad for you. What they really went after is the poorest of the poorest, the people that we should be uplifting and supporting, children and elderly. So societies are looked at in spiritual community, which is maybe even other planets or realms of communities of highly evolved beings, look at Earth and look at communities on how they are different civilizations over the history. How do they treat? It's an excellent way to tell if this culture is healthy and it's spiritual. How do they treat the weakest among them? How do they treat the most vulnerable? And that is our strength. And that is our our higher calling. And so this bill really was, I call it an ugly bill because it, it took away, I guess, wealth in, like if you're inheriting money, it took away the tax from that. The stock market didn't really mind the bill. Hey, sweetheart, I know you want to go for your walk. Come here, come here. You want to go for your walk and play with your ball. And you have to wait because Dylan's going to come over and take you for your walk. What? What was that? He just had his dinner. I call breakfast dinner because we have certain words. Was that a good dinner? Yeah. Where's your ball? I don't know. Okay. Okay, back where we were. Yeah, the tariffs and the bill that passed. And I did read that I believe that once the Democrats get in, and I believe they will get in the midterms, they can start reversing a lot of stuff. And if we win in 2028, the presidency, um, I don't know if this regime can hang in there that long because it's coming out voting that they cheated in the voting. But anyway, it's back what I was saying. So we can start to reverse some of the stuff the harmful stuff that bill did, or help people to save money in other ways. So for me, I know I've had past lives where societies or civilizations have crumbled that I've been in. So I just kind of intuitively know, like, that I really need to protect myself. And like, I know how to forage around this area. I know what foods are, like, there's enough food here. If you were collecting acorns and, some of the things that people think are weeds that are growing around here, you could live. No problem. You would not starve. The worst thing would be if the weather was so bad that stuff stopped growing. And so that's why I always tell people the worst thing that can happen is climate change. And here we are in the heat. I mean, you think that it's, oh, the price of stuff or this law or that law. It is. But if you don't have a planet and you can't breathe or have food, then nothing else really matters. So, anyway, so, the bill, the tariffs, yeah, I don't even know what the question is to ask about that. It doesn't look good. I know that he bought, the felon did some kind of deal with, who was it, Vietnam or something, so he could put a hotel over there. So that's what the tariffs are about. It's about him enriching himself. And so now let's go into criming. I read on this before about there's a lot of crimes that are happening, a lot of stealing of money that he did in the first term and that they're doing now on steroids. They're stealing from the American people and shipping money overseas and hiding things. That's what they do. They're criminals, and that's what they do. And so there's a lot of money and crimes that we aren't even reporting on that are happening as we speak and have been happening since he got in there again, of just making deals to build hotels or whatever. And some of it you see it's like if you see a mouse in a house, there's a whole nest of them. You got an infestation because there's never just one. It's like that. If you see a couple little things popping up here and there with this criminal regime, they're like a mafia family that's not working for you, working for themselves. So what's happening is there's a lot of crimes that are not reported on. Let's look at and I've looked at this before about like shipping gold bars or fixing up the White House with gold stuff, paying for it, and then switching it out for fake gold and then shipping it off somewhere. So there's a lot of like all kind of scam things going on like that with this criminal regime. So let's look at, is this going to start to come out about all these crimes, about the stuff that they're doing? Like, we know about the Bitcoin, kind of, sort of. We know about, making deals or getting hotels built or things like that. But is there more that's going to come out and be known, like in the next, before the midterms? Let's look at that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say yes. Yeah. Now, what people are wanting is to go back to a more honest time, a time when people were ethical. There is stuff coming out. There is more stuff coming out. And they're going to try to use propaganda to say, well, that's just made up stuff. It didn't happen. I mean, I don't believe this guy won. It's going to start to come out that this was all, that he's illegitimate, that we're living in a coup d'etat, I guess you call it, with an illegitimate president. I mean, he does everything else crooked. He cheats and everything else. You think, oh, but he did the election fair and square. Really? You think that when he was looking at jail time? Remember all the felonies and all the cases against him? His his life was pretty much going to be over. And so, yeah. Okay. All right. So let's look at Elon Musk starting a new party, and then we'll look at the protest in on July 17th. Ugh, I just dropped my card. Okay. And while all this is going on, you can have a good life. You can detach from this. You can get creative. This is a time of great change. It's also a time of great growth. So there's a lot that we are, like, if you ever been in a bad relationship and then you got out of it and you became bitter, or you became better. So if you became better and you learned what you needed to learn and became stronger, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So there's a lot of growth that's happening now, a lot of changing that's happening now, that if you look at it like that, it is the time for your soul to excel, to grow, to strengthen, to look at what's really important and how you contributed. Like if you stand back and look at your life, observe your life and what you're doing, about how did you take care of yourself and your community when this was happening, and what did you do? Did you get depressed or angry? Okay, that's all right if you're afraid. It's okay if you're afraid, depressed, or angry, but what are you going to do with that? Do you let it shut you down? Do you give up? Or are you going to fight back? You see what I mean? Whether you're fighting back with prayer, you're fighting back with donations, door knocking, voting, yeah, like I do. I go around YouTube and just subscribe to all these channels that are putting out honest, ethical content. Okay, so let's look at Elon Musk starting this new party. Okay. Now, I don't think he, like, in his drug-induced, I don't think he's such a good businessman. I think that he just had it in his stars to come in and be this disruptor. And he came from a wealthy family, so he had seed money to do these things. And he's like a deal maker or something. He just had it in the stars that he could do this. But he's not really, I mean, he has some really new, innovative ideas, but he also is really out for himself. And the reason for starting this party isn't like to break free from tyranny like our country started, or to bring, values to people or help people or anything like that. It's to help himself and other billionaires. So, I mean, really, is that something that people want to get behind and support? I mean, it's something different. God. And I'm not a politician. I'm not a legal scholar. I don't know what they need to qualify in state. I think you have to get petitions with so many signatures. Can they do that by the midterms? Because when I look at this energetically, I see a big mask popping up in front of him, like he's putting up a mask of like, I'm doing this, and this is this, and it isn't. It's for revenge, so he can win and get more money for himself. That's what it's for. Okay, so who wants to get behind that? So I see like they'll get like so, but he could do this and change if he can get in there and do this. He could change, you know, the balance of power by having some, like two, three, maybe four people win who could actually change the vote. Because a lot of votes that go through lately are only go through by like one person or three, two, four people at the most. They're not really, we don't really have any, you know, mandates here on things. Um, so let's look at, I don't think he can get this through by the midterms. I don't think he can get his party, like he can talk about it and he can use it to scare the felon and, get people talking and, gives them something to do. But I think maybe by 2028, he could get, if he can get the signatures, let's look. I mean, this is risky business predicting this stuff. I don't really like it because everything changes so fast. And I don't want people to disbelieve in spirituality because something that I said changed. But I do look at the energy. So I don't really like to predict outcomes so much, is look at where the energy is going. Okay. So just to be clear with that. But so let's look at, because by all rights, this felon shouldn't even be there now. Shouldn't even be in that. He didn't win. Okay, but there he sits. Here we are. Because when's he gonna leave? When we've learned, when enough of us have woken up. Okay. That's why I teach awakening in my classes, because when you wake up, you raise the vibration and it brings other people up. It brings the planet up. And then we wouldn't be in this method. Okay. But so let's look at, will he have a party by 2028 midterms? I feel like he's gonna try. Will he have a party by 2028 midterms? Um, uh, yeah. Okay. Uh, so this came out of his own grief about losing. Like he was really used by the felon. He was used, got in there and did all this stuff and then kicked him out and took away his contracts or whatever. So, I mean, you got to remember this guy is a Nazi saluter. He's look at what he did to veterans and all kinds of, American programs. This is not someone who is trying to help America. This is from his own grief and pain. To turn the government upside down and to put out some type of a message. I feel like it'll have an effect. It might scare Republicans. Are they going to get anybody elected in this party in any state by 2028? I mean, by the midterms? And wait, the midterms are 2026. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Are they going to get anybody elected? No, I don't think so. I think he's just making a mess and scaring people. Maybe the Republicans need to be scared. Okay. What about by 2028, the general election? Will Muskrat have a party with candidates in that election? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, he could. I feel like he could. Wow. So he's got hurdles with the law, like how many signatures you need to have, or the paperwork, or how you do this. I feel like there are environmental issues coming up with people, so they might actually, some Republicans might leave the traditional party. They could leave. They're sick of this. For other reasons, they leave. And yeah, I feel like he could have some type of a party up by then. We'll look later and see. We'll oh, okay. All right. Well, please subscribe to my channel and like. It really helps support me. And I will be on possibly Wednesday. I usually do a video on Wednesdays. I'm usually on Mondays, Wednesdays, and then sometimes on Saturdays if I'm not teaching a class. This Saturday I will be live. So for me and Apollo, who's sleeping now, he came in and you didn't close the door. Okay, I'm sending you so much love, and check out my spiritual video coming out on Thursday, where I will be doing a meditation. We're going to be talking about, what are we talking about? Raising our vibration and not being so empathic, because this energy is traumatizing people, making people depressed, making people, and so how we take back our space and not get affected by people in our life and not have our health drained is by being aware of our space and our energy. So I will be doing that on Thursday, and that usually comes out at 12 o'clock. All right, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye for now. Love you guys. I really appreciate all the wonderful comments and my subscribers. You make this channel possible and for me, and for that I'm very grateful.